to the Client Cloning Blueprint. This webinar is going to show you exactly how to make identical copies of your best clients without spending a penny more on advertising. And you're going to note today that I say clients a lot throughout our talk today. That's a term I suggest you always have in mind when you think about the people who give you money. The reason for that is, if you think about it, sports agents, attorneys, doctors, people who earn very high incomes, they all have clients. By contrast, Sears, Walmart, the dollar store, they have customers. So I want you to start thinking of all the people who give you a paycheck as clients. If you do nothing else, you can hang up now. That's probably worth the value of your time today, because it's a big paradigm shift to think of the people who support you in your business as clients. Now, our goal today is threefold. I want to help you get more clients like your best clients. I want to give you more predictable revenue, and as a result of 1 and 2, you're going to enjoy more freedom in your business. Now, a quick visual recap of that nice introduction that Dave gave earlier. That's just a quick summation of the media appearances I've had over the years. Been in marketing going on 20 years, actually. It'll be 20 years next year. And more importantly, I work for myself, and I have to support myself with my ideas. Nothing you're going to hear today is theory. It's all proven, tested tips and tricks based on my experience and the clients that I serve. But perhaps my most important qualification for being with you today is, like most of you on this call, I'm a proud Spartan. I'm a graduate of James Madison College, 1988. So go green, go white, and especially go green, because that's the color of the new profits we're going to help deliver to your bank account. Now, a quick housekeeping question. Dave is going to be monitoring your questions as you type them in. He's going to hold me accountable. At the end, we will have time to answer specific questions, so if anything is not clear, or if you want me to expand on any ideas here today, just type your questions into the interface there. Dave will keep track of them, and at the end of our presentation today, there will be time to answer as many as possible. So let's get cracking here. Now, the Client Cloning Blueprint, as I have defined it, as I've seen it work over and over again in businesses, myself, my own, and my clients, it's based on, as I said, my experience dating back to 1994. You're going to see these 5 steps followed consciously or not by almost all of the successful businesses that you run into. It really ranges in size. My clients range from $200,000 to $25 million in revenue. These principles work from A to Z, from Apple to Zappos. The 5 steps are, first, you want to define your prospect. Number 2, attract your prospect. Number 3 is kind of the fulcrum point of the whole series here. You want to convert those prospects into paying clients. Once you have them, in step 4, you want to delight them. And then in step 5, where the magic happens, you're going to clone them. We're going to go through each of these steps in detail today. And let's start at the beginning. Number 1 is to define your ideal prospect. Now, why would you want to take the time and effort to define the people you want to do business with? For a lot of people, they run into a roadblock here. They don't want to say no to anybody who may potentially have money for them. They think that their business is for everybody. This is a classic mistake. Why do you want to define your prospect? Lots of reasons. Here are 3. When you know clearly who you're selling to, you save time. You don't have to chase everyone and their brother to find prospects for your business. You're also going to save money, and as a result of 1 and 2, you're going to maximize your profits. I have found, and a lot of other people have too, when you are trying to sell to everybody, you're playing a game called blind archery. You're really a danger to yourself, your business, your stakeholders, even your family if they depend on you for an income. So simply defining your prospect at the beginning, before you go further with your marketing, is one of the most valuable things you can do. There are a lot of ways to do it. Let's just slow down a bit here. You can define people in terms of demographics. How old are they? What are their incomes? Where do they live? Is it a 5-mile radius of your business, 30 miles? Is it North America? Demographics is one of the classic ways to define your ideal prospects. A more advanced idea would be psychographics. How do these people think that you want to do business with? What are their attitudes, interests, and occupations? or outlooks? That's the AIO section there. What are their values? Are they left-leaning, right-leaning, centrist? What magazines do they read? Those are all good psychographic indicators. But this is one of my favorite ways. It's the easiest way that I know to get very clear on your ideal prospect. You can do it today, as a matter of fact, after we hang up. And it's what I call getting pictures of your top 5 clients. If you think about it, if you're already doing business with people that you really enjoy doing business with, why not get more of them? And the easiest way to get very clear on who your ideal prospects are is to have actual pictures of your ideal clients. And I'm going to show you mine. These are the 5 people who I most enjoy doing business with. These are their actual pictures. The 2 fellows on the upper right, they're actually with the same business, so they count as one client. But if you put the 5 pictures of your top 5 clients below your computer monitor, as I have, or someplace on your desk where you see it every day, I'm telling you, things start to happen. Everyone I've ever taught this principle to has seen their business improve. If they did this, if they just thought it was a good idea and did nothing about it, it can't help you. So what I would recommend to you is to find the pictures of the top 5 clients that you most enjoy doing business with. Don't cost nothing, and they're freely available because, as we all know, privacy is dead. You can get these pictures online and a lot of other places. So step number 1, defining your ideal prospect. It doesn't get any easier than this. Just simply pick 5 pictures of your top 5 clients. Now let me break this down. And here's how to define your ideal prospects. First, decide who are your top 5 clients now. Who are your top 5 clients in the future? It may be a different list. And if you hate all of your clients now, well, then just think ahead. Who would you like to be doing business with most? I know that David Ogilvy, before he founded Ogilvy and Mather, the advertising agency, back in the 40s, I think, he came up with a list of 10 targeted accounts. These were businesses he wanted to work with. He wrote down all 10 names, carried it around with him. Within a few years, he'd landed all 10 accounts for his business. And that's what this is just simply a visual version of David Ogilvy's excellent idea. So decide who your top 5 clients are in the future, if that helps, and then simply ask yourself, where can you find their pictures? I'll tell you, you can just do a Google image search, or if you're connected with them on LinkedIn, you can take their profile picture. But that's just dead simple. You can do it today. I highly recommend it. So that's a very easy way to get clear on your ideal prospect. Number 2 in our blueprint is to attract your ideal prospects. Now, why would you want to do this? Why would you want to attract people to your business? Well, the people who call you, prospects who call you, are more interested in doing business with you. They're more motivated because they picked up the phone and called you, and they're just flat out easier to sell. Now, you could chase after them the way a lot of folks do, cold calling, banging the phones, airdropping your business card at networking functions, but really, how has that ever worked for you before? We've all had the experience of being hounded by people we've met at networking functions, or even we get spammed by people on LinkedIn. I get those messages every day, and you just got to ask yourself, how is that working for you? Probably not very well. You want to be pursued. If you're in the position of being pursued by prospects, that's when things start to happen. It's much easier and more profitable for you. So how are we going to do that? Well, hey, you can appear on a webinar like I am right now. Public speaking or writing a column, whether it's a blog or something published, that is a terrific way to appear to be a thought leader in the eyes of your marketplace. Testimonials are a terrific way to attract your ideal prospects. Not only are they really kind of a minimum requirement for doing business these days in the age of, Yelp and review sites. You've got to have people saying good things about you. But if you can get detailed testimonials on your website or in your marketing materials, and by detailed I mean the full name of the person giving you the recommendation, their city, state, their company name, and their job title, the more detailed you can make those testimonials, the more opportunities you give people to connect with that person who gave you that testimonial. For example, if I say Dave is a terrific guy, I love doing business with him, and the name says Frank, that is just pretty much a blind testimonial, not going to make a connection. But if I say Dave is the greatest thing since disposable batteries, well, hey, and if it's signed Kevin Donlin, copywriter, Edina, Minnesota. That gives people in Minnesota a chance to identify with me, the person who wrote the testimonial. It gives people named Kevin or Irish people a chance to identify with me. It gives other copywriters a chance to identify with me. So the more detailed you can make your testimonials, the more hooks are in there to grab onto other people. It's kind of a little known fact about testimonials, but this is really my bread and butter as a copywriter, so I recommend that idea to you, testimonials. But what we're going to talk about today, again, very, very easy. And this is an easy way to become an expert in the eyes of your marketplace. And you don't have to create the content. You don't have to write a blog. You don't have to write a book. You don't have to make a product of any kind. You can simply curate that information. By curate, it's just the way you think it is. It's like being in a museum and being a curator there. The curator at a museum did not create that 100,000-year-old mastodon fossil. They found it and presented it to you, and when they do so, they appear to be an expert about mastodon fossils. So if you can find and deliver useful information to your marketplace, you look like an expert, and you don't have to create this stuff. I've said that before, I'll say it again. So how do you create, what's this about, creating useful information? First you got to find it. And it should be useful at a minimum, but also aha stuff, strange facts, little known secrets. That bit I told you about testimonials, how to use them to market your business, that was maybe an aha for some of you. It's old hat to me. So be aware of the idea that information you think is mundane and you run across it every day, it may be a big aha moment to your prospects. So find useful aha stuff and then share it. You can do it two ways, online or offline. Online, of course, you see this a lot on Twitter. People find an interesting article and they tweet it. That's fine. You can do it on LinkedIn or Facebook, of course. You can also link to it from your website, have a list of the 21 most helpful articles about your industry, link to that information online. Didn't have room for it, but of course you can email links to useful information. This is something I do quite often with my prospects and clients, and the message you write is very simple: saw this, thought of you, and here's the link. So you can share this stuff online. I recommend that you do it. A more advanced, a bit more expensive, but highly more effective in my experience, is to share this information offline. So if you're the person who makes copies of articles and mails them out to your top 20 prospects or your top 10 clients, you stand out. You're curating information with a difference because you're giving it to people in a tangible format. By the same token, you can take it a step further, actually. Books. I mail books to my clients. I mail books to my prospects, one of them which I happen to have written. But other books, hey, if I didn't write the book, but I can make whatever is in the book happen for my clients, I don't hesitate to mail a book to my client. And the last idea, I can tell you what, few things will make you more welcome in the eyes of your prospects than if you share leads with them. I try to put people together. Play matchmaker with your prospects. Play matchmaker with your clients and give them actual leads they can use in their business. This is a fantastic way to stand out in your marketplace. And again, you're not creating any information here. You're simply sharing it. But it's very valuable and makes you a very welcome person. People love this stuff. This is how you attract your ideal client. So, questions for you. How do you make this happen? What information do your prospects want? What do they want to know right now, especially? Where is that information now? Google is a good first place, of course, but it could be magazines that you know they read. It could be trade associations they belong to. Find information that your prospects want and then share it. And you have to make the determination for yourself. Do you want to email this stuff or do you want to mail it? The more valuable your prospects are, the bigger ticket your sales are, I recommend that you mail this stuff because you can delete an email. It's hard to delete a package without at least opening it first. Now for something completely different. This is my dog Ginger. Anytime I go 6 slides in a row of all text, I stick a picture of Ginger in here to shake things up. This is all based on science, and there you go. Step 3. This is, as I said earlier, the fulcrum point of our process here. We're turning prospects into clients here. We've led the horse to water. Now we want to ask him or her to take a drink. So you want to convert prospects into clients. Now this is going to be incredibly obvious to most or all of you, but I feel necessary to say it because for a lot of people, we lose sight of the fact of what our marketing is about. Now, this is a fact, and I'm sure you'll agree with me. You cannot put likes or followers in the bank. Only dollars will do. You need to always keep in mind the goal of your marketing. All marketing has the same goal, which is to make selling superfluous. And if you don't make the selling superfluous, all the marketing in the world isn't going to help you a bit, and it's not going to be effective. So always remember, at the end of the day, your goal with your marketing is to put money in the bank. Dollars, to be specific. Now, how do you do this? Many ways. I'm going to talk about 3 here. Thank you notes. I am a big fan of thank you notes. I have to edit myself here because I could go on a 45-minute run just on the power of thank you notes. I've done webinars on them before, but there's no bad time to send a thank you note to a prospect. I like to mail them, and I'm saying mail, by the way. It's funny, I'll say thank you notes to people, and they say, oh, you mean email? No, I mean a note, a small square envelope, stamp on the envelope, you handwrite the thing. If you send these after all important meetings, whether it's a phone call or an in-person meeting, it's going to help your sales. This is just axiomatic. I've never seen, no one is unhappy to get a thank you note. If you think about it, only 2 things come in those small square envelopes: party invitations or thank you notes. Everybody is happy to get one of these. You have never received a summons in a small square envelope. You've never received a bench warrant for your arrest or a letter from your ex-wife's attorney or an IRS tax audit. Doesn't happen. Small square envelopes are little gifts. People love to get them, and you can be the person who stands out if you send them. Next idea here. That's interesting. My mouse battery is low. I'm going to switch over to my doohickey here. Hang on a second. Useful follow-up. What do I mean by useful? Well, I alluded to it earlier, the idea of curating information. If you can be the person who sends helpful follow-up emails or articles in the mail after you've presented your proposal or after you've had a meeting, people will pay attention to you. Do not be the guy or gal who sends an email every week and the message is the same. Did you make a decision? Are you any closer to a decision? Can you give me some money soon? When are you going to make a decision? People delete that stuff. It's useless. So you want to deliver useful follow-up. And we talked about that just a second ago with the concept of curating information. But here's a fun one. Before or after a proposal, I usually recommend it before the proposal as the first thing people see from you. Send out what's called a shock and awe package. I didn't invent that name. That was maybe Norman Schwarzkopf back in the first Iraq War. But a shock and awe package is simply you showing up differently than your competitors. Now, what do I mean by that? Here's an actual example. This is a version of one of the shock and awe packages I send out to my ideal prospects. There's a copy of my book there, and again, you don't have to have written the book you send, but I happen to have written this one. I also include 2 copies or more of my newsletter. It's a printed newsletter, and a business card along with a very detailed and specific letter to my prospects. So you just have to ask yourself, what are my prospects sending out and what can I send out to show up a little bit differently? And when you do this, you deliver shock and awe and you stand out above and beyond what anybody else is doing. I got to tell you, too many people are relying on email alone to convey their messages to prospects. And unless you're selling something that's, $50, a couple $100, anything beyond that, you really have to ask yourself, would I be willing to write a check based on a couple of emails? If you're asking for big paychecks, you got to start delivering tangible things, whether in person or by the mail, to your prospects, and the shock and awe package is a great way to do that. So here is how to make it happen for you. Ask yourself first, what do you send to your prospects now? What are you doing now? It's probably email or maybe phone, maybe in-person stuff. You could probably be doing more, I can tell you that. And then look around. What are your competitors sending to their prospects now? Right? And this is where you find out What can you send that's different? It's all about standing out, and there's no easier way to do that than to send your own version of a shock and awe package by mail. It can be standard postal rates. It can be FedEx. FedEx, by the way, is the only letter in the world with a 100% open rate. So if you need to be in front of a prospect, FedEx is the way to go. It's a small price to pay. And by the way, whether it's standard overnight delivery or 2-day or even 3-day, all FedExes get opened. So just keep that in mind. Step 4. We're in the home stretch here. You want to delight the client. This is a lot of fun. Once you've converted them to clients, start delighting them and good things happen. Why do you want to do this? Well, happy clients will buy more and spend more with you. They will complain less, and they will refer others to your business. Does anybody see a downside here? I'll wait. No one's typing anything. So there is no downside, folks, to delighting your clients. There's a whole book on this called Delivering Happiness by Tony Hsieh at Zappos. And that's really the entire Zappos business plan, is to delight clients so that they tell more people and buy more stuff. There's the Zappos case study for you. And anybody can do this. And I'm going to show you how. Couple of ways. Again, I'll give you 3 options and I'll drill deep on one of them. Surprise gifts for clients. After the sale, I like to send little thank you gifts, not just notes, but thank you gifts. I have a habit of sending chocolate covered fruit to my clients. It's kind of famous among them. If anyone refers someone to me, they more often than not will tell the other guy, hey, watch for a box of chocolate covered strawberries after you start doing business with Kevin. So the secret's out, but nobody in my line of work, which is copywriting, is doing anything at all like this. So that's the easiest thing in the world for me, is to send a surprise gift after the sale. A welcome package, similar idea. You want to send something that's a nice surprise, useful and fun. It could be anything like a welcome letter telling people what to expect. It can be helpful hints on how to get the most out of your product. So anything in terms of a letter or a package that's useful and fun for people. I send books as well if they're related, but anything in a box or a nice envelope is going to be welcome, obviously. But here's an easy one. This costs you pretty much nothing. You can delight clients simply by over-communicating to them at all stages. And you may think I'm setting the bar pretty low here in terms of over-communicating. This may seem obvious to a lot of folks, but really, looking back at your experience with vendors over the last weeks or months, can you think of anyone who really took the time to tell you everything that was going to happen and then kept you in the loop? You know, we get angry, we get frustrated with vendors because we feel like we're in the dark, and this dispels all of that. Costs you nothing. So what do I mean by over communicating? Before the sale, you want to just leave voicemails that keep them in the loop and tell them what to expect. What I like to do is, once I find an email that answers all of the typical questions before the sale, create a template and just send the thing over and over. This saves you time and standardizes your communication. So you just want to over communicate and keep people totally in the loop before the sale ever happens. Now, during the process, you know, while they're getting ready to buy from you or while they're actually buying from you, keep them in the loop with phone calls, with update emails. Here's what to expect. That's the kind of a message that is going to win you big bonus points with clients. As a simple aside here, I used to have a voicemail greeting on my phone that said, I don't answer the phone, but I do return all voicemail messages within 2 hours. And then guess what I did? I returned all voicemails within 2 hours. I checked my voicemail and called people back every 115 minutes or so. Now, once a year at minimum, someone would say, that was pretty impressive, Kevin, because I was timing you, and you called back within 2 hours, and I think we should work together. Now, just think about what happened here. It seems like I am just doing what's expected, but when you make a promise and you keep a promise before money ever changes hands, you are really standing out from your competitors, because most people stop doing business or fire someone because they broke promises. They either got something they're late or not good enough or too expensively or not at all. So broken promises are one of the big reasons why business it doesn't happen, or why vendors get fired. So if you can keep a promise before you've ever asked for the money, or while you're in the middle of the sale, this sets you apart. The cost to you is nothing except a few minutes. Finally, after the sale, you want to keep people totally updated on how to reach you with questions, how to get the most out of what they ordered. Simple stuff like this. And again, I say simple, but it's not easy because it forces you to think a little bit differently if you're going to keep people in the loop. And this is where a lot of repeat and referral sales are lost because of poor communication, which leads to a whole other host of problems. This costs you nothing, folks. And as another aside here too, you may feel a lot of pressure to deliver remarkable service or to be the best in the world at what you do, and I'm going to break with tradition here and say, you know what, maybe you don't have to be the best in the world at what you do. Maybe you just have to be pretty competent and better than most people. But here's the thing, one way to deliver remarkable service is to deliver the impression of remarkable service. So instead of blowing their socks off with what you deliver physically or in the form of your service or whatever, and that's a great thing to do if you can do it, you can also blow people away simply by your communications, simply by over communicating with people, delighting them with how you keep them in the loop. If you do this, you give the appearance of super service. You give the feeling, the service doesn't have to be the best in the world. It can be simply the way you deal with people. I hope I'm not being too confusing here, but this, you don't have to have the best business in the world. You can simply try harder than the rest of the people in your industry to deliver the appearance of great service, and this alone can push you over the goal line. So how do you make this happen for you? Ask yourself, what do you do before, during, or after the sale? How can you remove bad surprises and add good surprises? Just doing these two things, answering these two questions, can help you over communicate with folks and delight them. This is Ginger again. You may have heard her a few minutes ago. Of course, she has a nasty habit of sneaking into my office and barking. I apologize for that. But in her job as Chief Morale Officer in my company, she's in charge of keeping me on my toes, and she just did that a few minutes ago. So, back to live action. Finally, step 5, the last part. This is where the magic really happens, cloning the client. And this is literally creating identical copies of your ideal clients, the people you want to do business with all day, every day, if you can. Why do you want to do this? Again, maybe I'm belaboring the point here, but when you delight clients and then you end up cloning them, when you get duplicate copies, you get more sales to the same people. You'll get repeat sales to the same people. This, of course, results in lower costs for you. You don't have to go out and advertise to get people. If people are buying from you repeatedly, there is zero acquisition cost, zero advertising cost for you. As a result of these first 2 points, you get more profits, whether it's repeat sales or referral sales. And frankly, this is just a lot of fun. When your business starts generating repeat and referral sales by cloning your best clients, your marketing becomes self-sustaining. You stop worrying about where your next clients are going to come from. Your cash flow is predictable. Life is good. So this is where you want to be, cloning your clients. How do you do this? Spoke earlier about repurchases. Whether you sell products or services, if your clients aren't buying from you, 2, 3, 4 times, you gotta re-examine what you're delivering and how you're delivering it. You ought to be able to structure your business so that repeat sales, repurchases happen predictably. Now here's an idea. If you've got products, create a service. And if you've got services, create a product. There's an instant back end for you, an instant opportunity for a repurchase for you, and the simple cost to you is just converting one to the other. So that's one way to get more repurchases. There's an idea, another topic I can go 45 minutes on, I call Kaizen marketing, which is simply continual improvement of your marketing. There are 2 questions you can ask each of your clients, which will help you grow your business almost by remote control. It'll help you clone your clients faster than almost anything else you can do. Here are the 2 questions. Everyone who comes into your business, you want to ask them, question 1, how did you find out about us? How did you find out about us? This will tell you what parts of your marketing are working. If they found out about you on LinkedIn, you want to start doing more of that. If they found you on Google, ask them what they typed into the search engine. Just keep quizzing people, and never give them answers to choose, by the way. It's an open-ended question. If you ask, how did you find out about us on Google, they'll say yeah. How did you find out about us in the Yellow Pages, they'll say yeah. So you never want to do that and give people an opportunity to just spit out an answer that you put into their mouth. Just an open-ended question. How did you find out about us? Number 2, why did you decide to do business with us? Why did you decide to do business with us? This will tell you, again, what you're doing that's working so that you can do more of it. Back in one of my previous businesses, I used to write resumes back in the 90s, and people would tell me again and again that they did business with me because of my money-back guarantee and the 17 pages of testimonials on my website. I think I got up to 23 pages before I stopped adding them. Those are the 2 big things. So I just kept emphasizing the guarantee more, adding more testimonials. My business kept spiraling upward and upward. It was a continuous improvement cycle. Very cool stuff. So ask those 2 questions, and your business will grow almost automatically, and you'll definitely be cloning your best clients. But here is the idea I want to go deep in for just a second here. Referrals, and not just any old talk about referrals today, because we've all heard 101 ways to get referrals. I'm going to talk about a concept called referral partners, and this is from a good friend of mine by the name of Jim Bear. He's written and spoken about this for years. Referral partners, this is the idea that instead of going after water in glasses, water by the glasses, which is what happens when you're looking for individual referrals. When you go to a networking meeting or a conference, you can only meet one person at a time generally, and those are just glasses of water. But what I want you to think about in terms of referral partners is digging your own well. And that's what this idea is about. And so this is a game-changing concept for most people, the concept of referral partners. And it is actually how I did something very cool, which I promised you for joining our webinar today. I think I promised the idea, the story was how I made $73,120 in 2 minutes by finding one referral partner. Well, I actually had to change that figure, make it higher. It's actually higher now than $81,000, but this is how I made $81,000 in 2 minutes by finding one referral partner. This was like, the granddaddy of all referrals for me, and anybody can do this. Briefly, what happened is this. About 18 months ago, I went to a conference that a lot of my ideal clients were going to be at. I knew they'd be there, and I wanted to be there anyway. One of the speakers at this conference, turns out he is a consultant who advises my ideal clients on how to do direct mail. Now, when someone does a direct mail project, whether it's mailing a bunch of sales letters or a postcard campaign or a combination, they need somebody to write the copy, write the words for those promotions. And for most businesses, they don't have anybody in-house who can do what I do as well as I do. And so this consultant was always having to advise his clients on finding a copywriter. So I struck up a conversation with this really nice guy during the conference. I told him what I did, and I followed up with him. I did all the things I spoke about today with you. I was useful in my follow-up to him. I sent him a thank you note by mail, all those things. And he ended up referring just one project to me a few weeks later. I hit it out of the park for that client. I did one of my best projects ever for him, and then he referred another person to me, and another, and before I stopped counting a few weeks ago, it's topped out at $81,000 in revenue since then. And this is because I now have a referral partner. This is a guy who talks to my ideal clients before I ever meet them. He helps them decide on how to find a copywriter. And so you got to understand how valuable this idea is. Anybody can set this up. A great analogy for you would be, think of your orthodontist. Most of us had braces. I remember my orthodontist, I think he drove a Corvette. This was back in the late 70s. Most orthodontists don't drive subcompacts, let's put it that way. They drive nice cars. They live in nice homes. They're doing pretty well most of the time. How do they get there? Well, most orthodontists have a couple of dentists who are upstream in the referral, talking to kids with crooked teeth when they're about 12 years old. And these dentists all say, hey, you should go talk to Mitt. He's the orthodontist I recommend everybody see. So this orthodontist He's got streams of referrals coming in from just a couple of dentists upstream who are his referral partners. And again, this is a concept I got from my friend Jim Bear, but I commend it to you. No matter what business you're in, there are people upstream, as it were, who can help you by sending you boatloads of referrals, just like I'm getting them from that direct mail consultant, just like an orthodontist gets them from a dentist. No matter what business you're in, there's a referral partner for you. So, how do you make this happen? Answer this question: who talks to your clients before you do? Who making about how to go forward with parts of their business that are complementary to you? Who's advising your clients on business matters that might be helpful, might be complementary to yours? So just who's talking to your clients before you? There's probably a long list of people. And a related question is, who refers your ideal clients to people like you? In my case, it's a direct mail consultant. For an orthodontist, that person is a dentist. So ask yourself, who refers your ideal clients to people like you? And then your task is go find some referral partners. You can send them a thank you note and ask for a phone call. You can seek them out at industry functions. You can just pick up the phone and call. You might approach them by email, but if this really matters to you, I would suggest that you take it a step further and make a better impression. So maybe mail them something first to try to meet them. But there's a referral partner for everybody. And I am very busy these days because of this one fellow. And the business, his referrals have spawned, of course, those clients have referred me to other projects. So this is just a great place to be, is to have your own set of referral partners upstream for you. This is one of the easiest, fastest ways to clone your ideal client. So we are nearly at the end of our time together, and I can't make my computer go forward here. I don't know if you can hear me or not. Let's see. Dave, are you able to advance the slide? I believe I've just got 2 slides left, so don't panic, folks. Here we go. And we got a slow internet connection here, so I apologize. But really what I'm doing on this slide is I'm just going to recap and give you the 5 steps again. Here we go. Bing, bing, bing. So, to recap, the client cloning blueprint has 5 steps. Define your ideal prospect. Attract that prospect. Convert that prospect into a client, delight the client, and then clone the client. It is as simple as that, folks. And before we get to any questions you might have, I want to thank you for joining me today, and I want to invite you to download or order. You can get it one of 2 ways, but a free client cloning kit is waiting for you at clientcloningsystems.com. There's free postage. I even pay the postage. So if you'd like to get a copy of some of my best ideas, visit my website, clientcloningsystems.com. You'll see a link there for the free client cloning kit, and it's very helpful for anyone really in business, especially if you're between 200,000 and 20 million or so, as my clients are. I work primarily with service businesses, professional practices, but I also do work with retailers and a host of other folks. It's all explained on my website, so if you're at all interested, I do recommend that you go grab a copy of your free client cloning kit. And Dave, if you have any questions that have come in, I would like to open the floor now for just a few minutes if anyone has anything they want to ask.
Nobody's typed anything, but I do have a couple questions for you.
Sure.
And as we speak, if you have questions and you're listening, go ahead and type it in the chat, and we'll make sure we'll acknowledge that. So first question is, you have a book. How do people get a copy of that?
You can go to Amazon.com. It's available there, and it's pretty cheap. I'd make it very easy to get in touch with me, and it's called 21 Quick Ways to Get More Clients. And yeah, thanks for asking. You can get it at Amazon any day of the week.
So if a small business person listening to this, or a large business person, whoever they are, if they're listening to this and they say, well, geez, I've always wanted to write a book, and I'd like to use that in my marketing, do you have a quick run through of how you got that accomplished?
That's a very good question, Dave. For a lot of people, the whole idea of writing a book is incredibly frightening. Maybe second only to getting a root canal or giving your own eulogy. But the way I wrote this book is pretty dead simple. I happen to blog quite a bit. I don't do so much as I used to anymore, but I simply went back to my blog and picked one best postings, the blog postings that had the most traffic or that I thought said the best things. I simply compiled them into a book. So the way to write a book is to write it one slice at a time, and if you're a blogger or if you're so inclined, just start writing one page at a time, and that allows you to break it down into manageable bites. There are books out there, programs that say how to write a book in a weekend. You can certainly do that. You can certainly transcribe a book. If you can get someone to interview you for a couple of hours, maybe in a couple of different sittings, you can simply talk a book. There are services that'll do that for you. Some of them are pretty spendy. They go $5,000, $10,000, $20,000. But if you can dictate some ideas into a digital recorder and have it transcribed, that is a really good way to get about 40-50 pages down on paper pretty quickly, and that's kind of the minimum for a book. A book does not have to be a big doorstop affair. 30, 40, 50 pages is a good place to start, and you can always add to it or come out with a second edition. So I've written, I think, 4 books that way. None of my books is longer than 100 pages. I do have courses and other things that are available that are longer, but if it's a book that you want to get done, you can do that in just a couple weeks, even a weekend if you want to be really motivated. But if you want to make it totally painless, I just suggest start blogging on ideas that really excite you, and you'll have a book in a couple months that way. So great question.
And then, so what would you suggest if someone actually wrote the book? You self-published yours, I assume. So
I did.
What's the channel that how do they do that?
Well, you can do it through Amazon. There's Amazon, I can't remember the name of it. Amazon has a space for authors, and they will publish your stuff for you. They take a cut of the deal. You can get into the Kindle ebook marketplace very quickly. I believe I have a Kindle version of my book there. I haven't checked it out in a while. But there are I think 2 good places to look would be Seth Godin recommended this to me, and I ended up using it. It's called Lulu.com, Lulu.com. They published the book that I have out now. I have friends who have gone through Amazon, the Amazon author program, and they recommend that very highly. So that's another place I would look, is the Amazon author program. I can't remember what the exact name is. Those are 2 good places to start looking.
So I assume once you get a book out, you probably want to market the book. And so how do you translate, marketing the book to get into the hands of your potential clients, and then actually getting those clients into the door through the book?
Good question. I think there's kind of a myth about books. In my experience, and the people I know who are very successful, you don't make money off the book. The book is really just a very long business card for you. So it's up to you to deliver the book to your prospects or your clients in most cases. You can certainly go through those programs that say, I'll make you an Amazon bestseller, a #1 bestseller. Again, in a weekend, there are some pretty rapid programs out there, but they cost several thousands of dollars. And the way you structure your book is to include lots of contact information at the end of the book and reasons to get in touch with you. Well, a lot of times what happens is if you tell people how to do something and you do it in a convincing manner in a well-written book, people are going to say, okay, great, I love this idea. Here, you do it for me. And if you give them a way and a reason to contact you in the back of the book can produce sales for you. So if you think of your book as just a really long and persuasive business card, then you just want to figure out, how can I get this business card into the most hands as possible? And that's the way I suggest you think about using a book. You don't get rich off the book. You get rich by using the book to get business.
So another question. If a business is looking to hire someone to do this stuff for them, because this sounds like great stuff, but it also, if you're a service business, you're pretty much paid for the hour that you're with that client or whatever. Mm-hmm. And marketing is a necessary evil. But so what do you look for if you're going to hire someone to do this stuff? What would you expect maybe to pay, or how do you vet the right person for your business? So
you're talking about maybe finding a marketing consultant or someone to help them with their business?
Finding somebody else to kind of take the lead on this stuff instead of doing it your own.
Yeah, I would suggest.
What would you look for?
Well, That's another very good question. Marketing, in my view, is not something that you can ever completely outsource. No matter what your job title is, if you own a business, you're really first in the business of marketing that business. Because if you don't have clients, you don't have a business. So if you want to just be, fixing cars or making quilts or designing graphics, you really want a job, and you want to consider working for somebody else. It's a very important distinction. A lot of people go into business because they don't want to have a boss, and then Monday morning, their first week in business, they find out they don't have a boss. They have 500 bosses, which are their clients or prospective clients. And they do have one employee, and he or she is totally dysfunctional and also a slave driver, and they can't fire that employee because they are the employee. So a lot of people get into business for the wrong reasons, and they get disillusioned very quickly about, yes, you're really going to have to market your business. So you can never really hand off all the decision making for marketing. You should have a firm hand on how things are done and the voice of your marketing and the tactics and the strategies. But having said all that, a good way to find a good marketer is to just see how often they appear online or offline, or what their reputation is. What are people saying about them on LinkedIn or in Google? Do their testimonials look real or canned? Unfortunately, made-up testimonials still happen. You'd think that would have gone the way of the dodo, but there are more than a few places I know that will use stock photos for their testimonial pictures, and they'll even make stuff up. So to do their testimonials, check out, and then ask to see samples of their work. When it comes to prices, my rates are kind of all over the map, but you want to ask yourself, what's the return on investment? If I pay this person, $2,000 a month, let's say, am I going to get back multiples of that in terms of new clients, repeat business? So you always want to look at your marketing as an investment. Any money that you're spending in marketing is really kind of the best investment on earth, because it's growing your business, it's creating wealth for you in the terms of equity in your business, repeat and referral clients. Marketing is an infinitely better investment than the stock market done correctly. And final idea would be, does this person look to be easy to work with? Do they return phone calls before I give them a check? Do they answer their email? Just little things like that. Trust your gut when interviewing, whether it's a marketing professional or any vendor, really. But that's where I try to shine, is in the service that I deliver to my clients, and it's a standard that any good marketer ought to be able to live up to.
Good advice. So if you have someone that is like a psychologist or mental health therapist or a doctor or a chiropractor or someone like that, they're doing time on task, they're dealing with insurance companies, all that kind of stuff, and they have to fit this marketing stuff into their business because it's a part of the business. Let's say this stuff works, and now they've got clients coming out the nose. What's your suggestion for putting people on a wait list or referring them out, or how do you deal with that when you've got too many clients to deal with in too short of a day?
Well, good question. First thing is raise your rates. If you're too busy, it's probably because your rates aren't high enough. The second thing is to outsource as much as you can, but without outsourcing your core competencies. For a lot of people, if you look at your day, this is another webinar topic all its own, time management for entrepreneurs. Most people who run their own business, whether they're professional practice or running a business with employees, they're doing a lot of things each day that could be outsourced or just dropped altogether. Again, that's another and I'd be happy to do that webinar because it's a big thing with me. Most of what you do every day doesn't make you money. In fact, it costs you money. If you're checking email more than twice a day, you're costing yourself money. If you're answering your phone live, in many cases you're costing yourself money. Someone else should probably be answering that phone. If you're checking Facebook, for God's sake, unplug your computer. That's wasting you money. So there are a lot of things most people are doing during the day that don't make them money. They actually cost them money. And if you eliminate that stuff, you'll find you can free up more time for their higher value activities. So yeah, there's probably more time in your day than you think you have, and you're probably not charging enough. Those are two quick fixes for what happens when you get too busy.
Great, really good information. So do you have anything else to add? Closing remarks?
No, I would say thank you, Dave, for having me on today. And if folks want to get in touch with me, they can either download that free client cloning kit at my website or just visit, and you can reach me by email or phone from the website. It's clientcloningsystems.com. I want to thank you all for your attendance today, and go green, go white.
Thanks, Kevin. We really appreciate having you. It was really great. This webinar was recorded, so if you'd like a copy of that, you can shoot Brenda an email at haynesb@msu.edu. That's HAYNESB@msu.edu. We do these webinars every second and fourth Thursday of the week, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So tune in a couple weeks from now and you'll hear another one. You can always check our website, alumni.msu.edu/professional series for upcoming events. Thanks a lot, Kevin, for being with us, and thank you, Spartans, for listening in. Have a great day. Go green.